Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mockman series, where we just have fun and play with my new Mockman that I got. We no longer main Aspen. I don't know if I ever will again, because honestly, he cleared, if you saw the video the other day, he cleared boss 310 without Giant Killer. And we'll just try to showcase this real quick before we get into the actual meat of what today's video is, which is going to be PvP. But so basically, what was happening here is my LFA could rarely get a kill with Balance Strike, which means no overspill, just a single target. He would get down very rarely at like 65 or 60 something million attack, which is just about what my SSM has. So we're just going to look at here. Now remember, this Mockman does not have Giant Killer or Defier. And we're just going to see the type of damage this guy can crank out. We're going to use TBB here with Dragon Rui to try to get her an active skill. There we go. Passive active right there. And we're going to see the type of damage this SSM does to these targets here for a crazy amount of chases. So very good. And bam. 745 without Giant Killer. He is racking up crazy damage numbers. This is an insane amount of damage that we are getting from this SSM. Of course, he's going to die, but with Giant Killer, I think if he targets and chases Gaggy and Halora, I think the whole wave's going to get nuked as soon as we get a good active skill, which is going to be crazy. This is a crazy amount of damage to get without Giant Killer. And also, by the way, um, I know I've talked about this the past two videos, but this is also in an unoptimized home. You see we only have one Destiny tenant, and the non-trans tenants are not even maxed tree. So we have probably like 6 or 7, 8 million attack left in the tank from this SFX here. We are 2 core chests away, 2.5 core chests away from getting her to Destiny. But moving on, so you don't get bored to tears, I see a lot of critiques of SSM saying, well, he's only good about half the time, and then he switches to his bad stance or his weak stance or whatever. In PvP, he just has 2 strong stances, really, depending on what you want, especially since we have this Nirvana skill here. We're going to read this absolute dissertation. The spiritual pivot Moonabis. When taking damage from active skills or basic attacks in the state of star ascending, that's the defensive one, the blue one, if has 6 or more layers, does 2000% of attack damage to frontline enemies. That is not new. That's what he has as soon as he gets his transition skill. What is new, if self has 12 or more layers, consumes them to inflict an extra damage capped at 1500% of Star Swordsman Mockman's attack, equal to 50% of their max HP. That is stupid for PvP. And increases self attack by 10% till the battle ends. Great. When star descending, the offensive one, and itself has 6 or more layers, deals 1200% of attack damage to backline enemies. That seems weaker on paper because of the smaller attack percentage. However, this deals it to 4 enemies and not 2, because this is targeting backline and not the front line, so it balances out, I think. But anyway, consumes, if has 12 or more layers, consumes 12 layers to deal extra 1200% of attack damage to all enemies with an extra 50% chance to inflict 1200% damage up to 4 times. Insane amount of damage. Obviously, the bottom one is going to be better against PvE because it is going to be reaching. He's just going to do more damage, whereas the first one caps at 1500% one time. So that's really good for PvP. When you have enemies similar to you, where 1500% is going to be substantive. However, in PvE, we will definitely want to be in the offensive mode. We take these hits in his Destiny form so that we can crank out a potential 5 times 1200, 6000% of attack damage. Pretty awesome. Pretty cool. So now let's talk about the defensive form real quick. We need to look at this sublimation. Bam. Whoops, I did it wrong. Right here. Okay. So we can just look here where it says, ascending energy. When taking active skills or basic attacks, Self gains 1 layer of awakening energy, deals 1200% of attack damage to all enemies, and deals damage by 50% of the same amount of damage one more time to enemies with Omen Rift. So basically, that's just his counterattack, which is going to be a lot in PvP, and we're going to showcase that now. So we have our friend Oxo here, who's in my guild. We have very comparable CCLs. He has a higher temple level, so I think this is going to be a fair-ish match here. I'm going to use LFA core, and I'm going to use Dragon Rui on LFA just because I want to get the fears out. So we'll put him there. Bam, we're going to give him Unbending Will. We're going to give him HP, Shelter, HP again, and then we're going to give him all the defensive stuffs in the world. This may not help him survive. I'm going to give him CI actually instead. And then we're going to put him, I have him still offensive because this used to be my main carry. But so what we're going to do, we're going to go against Oxo. Sorry, Oxo, you're going to be my guinea pig. Thank you. Thank you in advance. So what we're going to do here is my LFA, as my SSM's in the front line. He gets this. TBB is going to hit us back because she's very mean. And then the fun can begin. So active skill, we're going to hope that TBB or my PDE removes the twine from my SSM. Not yet, unfortunately. So we're just going to keep on going. There we go. SSM is free. He unleashes his destiny. You saw the little blue orbs and also a counterattack. And so we're just going to keep on watching SQH. There we go. And he's just picking this team apart, not even attacking. He is just doing defensive counters and just wrecking the place. and we didn't even run Dragon Road TBB, which would have made this even less fair. But if I run Dragon Rui TBB, I tend to prefer to have my SSM in the back row because he's not at risk of taking damage and therefore won't be able to leverage his counterattacks, which isn't fun. But yeah, just to show that this is a relatively consistent thing here against this team. Yeah, extremely funny. Extremely funny. Taking -1s. Good lord, he is strong. Very, very funny. I run LFA core. We're going to move my SSM to the back row just to see what sort of shenanigans we can get up to. LFA core grants all allies 1 layer of Devil Armor, which is just control immunity. Each layer of Devil Armor gives us 30% control immunity. So at the start, if we have 3 layers, you can do math. 90% CI off rip, which is pretty awesome. Aspen, whenever Aspen defeats an enemy, that's not going to happen with my team because he's one of the weaker ones around, unfortunately. But he'll grant allies Devil Armor, which helps against TBBs and stuff. But when an ally releases basic attack or active skills to feared enemies, LFA launches an additional attack. Not very helpful once again. Whenever an enemy is feared, this is the juicy part, increases all allies' attack by 8%. And if LFA has Rui, and SSM gets a kill, well, that's 5 enemies feared, and that's 40% attack. Damage reduction by 6% for 2 rounds. So that's 5 times 6, 30% damage reduction for the whole team. So I quite like this, especially when SSM is in his offensive form, which we can witness right now. So he's just going to get his chases, the TBB. Yeah. There he goes. Don't worry though, this is a little bit of a bias scenario. We'll look at the Void Horde because I do get wrecked a bit by some enemies in there. Mostly because I try to get cocky and attack them when they are having the shield up, so they receive less damage, and I think they do more damage to me. But it is what it is. Their LFA gets an attack off, which is rather unfortunate. So we'll see if we can eke out a victory here. I suspect we may be able to because we're on relatively level footing in terms of my strength, and I have more heroes up as well as an HHA and a DGN. So I think we should be fine. And my LFA with the Rui Scepter, should be able to get fears relatively reliably, which is nice. So we'll watch this. Obviously, this is not much of an SSM showcase anymore, but yeah, it's still going extremely well. So we'll look at another team here. Save Ukraine is extremely strong. I think he runs like a mirror TVP. Wookie is extremely funny. This is one of my favorite people in my guild family. He absolutely decked my SSM with a Luna relatively recently. It was extremely awesome. He runs a very fast Mystic Fairy Freya, which I don't know how fast it is, but I've never been able to outspeed it. Incredibly cool, but yeah, it's SSM, so it's just SSM. So it's not much of a battle, unfortunately. We'll go back and then we'll run him defensive just so we can all look. But yeah, it's basically just the second offensive form in PvP, which is it's incredibly funny. Yeah, so there goes the team. It just it's not fair, not fair at all. So we're gonna go into the Void Horde here. I did my attacks already, but I have some stuff I want to show you. Um, yeah, didn't go super well for me against this guy. Relatively close. We'll look at the victories first, just because I'm biased and they're funny, but we'll show you some losses as well. So this went down, not a super SSM heavy thing. He just kind of took out half the team and then died himself, which is par for the course when you run him with Balance Strike, of course. But um, his Balance Strike does not interact with Unbending Will or his Destiny skills. Yeah, Balance Strike doesn't interact with his Destiny skills, or at least I don't think they will. So you can run him with Unbending Will, and then just let him counterattack and get his Destiny counters to his heart's content. This was a very quick fight, if I do recall. So he's going to chase and knock out these three. Bam. And then someone's going to hit him. I think it's going to be the LFA. Yeah, and there goes the team. His destiny's really dumb. Really, really dumb. This was actually a huge streak of TBB with the Dragon Rui not getting her thing off. I think she got it once out of all these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 out of 9 times she did it, which is, of course, annoying, but we're not going to watch all of those. So another showcase here. People think that they can run Ignis to one, she dies and then feeds energy to TBB, which causes a premature P2 trigger, which is, of course, it's a smart strategy. It can turn the tide of battle, and it also gives your TBB CI if she is heavily invested in terms of Destiny and is your PvP carry. So it's a good strategy. However, it doesn't matter if you're up against an SSM. This is going to burst you down all the way. Um, Rather cool there. I am hoping that I see Twine immunity at some point so that we can do some real PvP shenanigans with this guy. But we'll just have to see about that. I do get decked sometimes. Do we want to watch it? Maybe, maybe not. Let me know if you want to watch me get destroyed, and then we can. But I'm just going to showcase the victories because they're cooler. TBB with Dragon Rui, frontline SSM, getting his counters. And yeah, that was just unfortunate for this poor soul here. It goes very well, however, I do like to run him. Oh yeah, that was another Mockman main actually. 13 Divine Power, good lord. With the good one. He's not running the cat. He's running I think it's called the Holy Flame. Extremely cool. But yeah, my hope is that I get enough stellar to take these two up a little bit higher. I want to take them to T100. Hopefully, just squeeze out a little extra attack. And then, of course, whenever I get my cores for SFX, I'm going to regress Homes Young, or at least I wish I could, because I am sitting on 5 soul symbols. Yeah, switching stuff around does take a heavy toll on an account, but all in the name of fun, right? and fun I am indeed having. The hammers will reset tomorrow as of this recording, and tomorrow as of this posting, perhaps, if I can come up with a good thumbnail, in which case we will have 30 opportunities to get something cool out of this. But until then, have yourselves a wonderful day. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, if you like this account, if you hate this account, what other main carries you're interested in. But personally, I'm a huge fan of SSM. Let me know if you have any other content ideas. Maybe I'll do it if it sounds entertaining. Have a good one. Love you.